The world is fundamentally changing and a lot of old ways don't work anymore. I believe there was never more prominent time for this radical change and building our businesses differently. My name is Elira, and in this new business paradigm podcast, I challenge all business concepts and I bring new and different perspectives for the ways we work, build our businesses and ourselves. I believe in the economy of care, and I stand for creating businesses your own authentic way while doing it with ease, effortless flow, and joy. I would like to invite the experience of entrepreneurship as the journey of more homecoming to yourself. So, hello, everyone. And I am so excited to have you in my another New Business Paradigm with Elira podcast episode. It's really coming alive again because I am rising a new season of my business, and it seems like with a new voice, and I have a lot to share and I have interesting people to talk to. Usually I have quite some people approaching me to have a conversation on my podcast, but I don't know how about you guys, but I have difficult time to just to invite strangers. I usually invite people from my community that I know their energy, I know what they stand for, their values, and at the end, I'm really just curious to hear what they have to say. That's my kind of criteria, who I'm talking to. And this time I have a very, very beautiful person, Geraldine Huybrechts. Did I do it right? Yes? Okay, good. I lived in Belgium a little bit. I studied, and Geraldine is from Belgium, joining us here today. And we have a very interesting topic to talk. So we started with Geraldine for a while. She's in my field, in my community. And I think the meeting point we have, both of us, is that humanity in the way we do business, that humanism in the way we brand and we build marketing in the business. And Geraldine and me are also very much focusing on energetics and foundations and deeper stuff than just business strategies or marketing strategies. I think we both, in a way, believe that you guys smart enough to figure out the strategies and tools and how to post on Instagram yourself. And we want to go a few layers deeper with you. So today, we both got also very ripe to talk about very, very hot topic, at least for me, and I think for you, Geraldine, we talked about it, the hype of personal branding. So before we dive in, Geraldine, hello, and say something that maybe I missed or I didn't say enough of introducing you.
Oh, hi, Elira. Thank you for the invitation. So I feel also very excited to be here. Well, I know you from the space, from the Oracle Girl interviews you had, and we are on the same wavelengths. So I feel also like a pioneer to talk and break open all the old marketing techniques and the old business paradigms. So I think we will have an interesting conversation to share our insights and maybe also how we can do it differently, in a different way, in a truly authentic way, to build up our personal brands.
Yeah, and marketing and branding is just part of what I focus on, because my focus is really like overall business and capacity work. Oh yeah, I didn't introduce myself for people who don't know, who are listening. My name is Elira, and I am a capacity and somatic business coach. And I am focusing on this new way of being in the business and with the business and building your business ecosystem that fits you, not the other way around. And I am really curious to talk with you because marketing and branding is your life work. It's your niche where you're focusing, is your expertise that you have many years. So I'm actually very curious to hear your point of view about what you have to say. And let's start with that, like, big picture, where the world is today. And I love what you're saying, like, we're both here to bust what is not working. But also I want to have a conversation, an open conversation with people, like, but what's the alternative? What's next also? Like, then what do I do? Because I think we all are a little bit allergic from unethical, manipulative marketing, but then, like, what do we do? How do we find that truth or that authentic marketing that nobody knows what that is, in a way? So let's start with that broader scope of the trends that are happening right now in the business industry, but also in the coaching industry and the marketing industry. And recently, I really noticed really few trends which really start to bother me. And I think that's why we're having this conversation, because I feel like people like us, we need to speak up. Like, it's our time, it's our responsibility to speak up. So what trends do you notice, Geraldine, in the area?
There are different trends. Maybe we can first start with the definition about personal branding.
Mm-hmm.
To differentiate yourself in the markets, so people know who you are and what's your service. But what we see is a lot of copy-paste techniques. The misuse of the word experts. I am the expert is also more about the package, like the visuals and typography, and then very exaggerated colors used to really stand out and to make noise.
Like peacock.
So for me, the focus is really on the outside. And what I also see is the tone of voice, quite aggressive. Like, I know how to do this, or stop doing this, start doing that. So it's like really the old masculine energy still.
Yeah. And recently it feels like it's rising even stronger, probably because it's purifying or leaving, but it's really, I noticed that very strongly as well. And I notice also now women rising in the business quite strongly, but then they in that pendulum of the swing where they take another extreme, where they didn't have a voice, they didn't have a money, and now they claiming a little bit sometimes confused way of the masculine, or as you say, that being authority and being expert.
Yes. Yes.
So what do you feel in general, like, elaborate a bit more on that, what that personal branding is for you? Like, what is that definition?
For me, it's a whole package of ingredients. So it's the way you talk, it's your expertise, your experience, your skills, your talents. It's how you look like, your energy. So it's really a whole package. But at the end, it's about your energy, it's about your core essence. That's what for me is the most, that's the fundament.
Yeah, and what do you feel like, why there's a kind of a cutoff, or that bridge in translation goes wrong? Like, yes, we hear that a lot. It's all about energetics, it's all about personal alignment and authenticity, all these also buzzwords of a little bit modern business now. But when it really comes to business and expression, because marketing and branding for me, it's also like your own expression to the world, something get lost in that way from inside to outside, and something goes wrong, and then people kind of lose their own voice, and suddenly they start to do what you say, one size fits all, or strategies that works. What do you think? Why? What happens?
There are different reasons. So I think we are really used to look at the external sides, like what are doing others, and then, oh, maybe we can copy paste this strategy, or maybe we can use this kind of wordings. I think there is also a layer of ego and not really tuned into your source connection or with your source connection. So for me, personal branding, it's really from inside out job, where you have to do your self-reflection and really tune in with your essence, like what are my natural gifts to the world? Why am I here? And how, in which way do I want to share my gifts with the world? And this is indeed about self-expression, but we're also brainwashed and conditioned by the external world. So we have lost our connection with our source.
Yeah, and I think also that would you say that connection trauma, our nervous system just doesn't feel safe. You know, it's easier said than done. Like, yeah, I want to share my gifts and I want to be authentic, and I'm very brave in my room when I'm alone. But when it comes in relation with others, you know, there's so much still trauma of expression. But also I feel since childhood to the school years, we are conditioned out of it. So we don't know even what is our natural expression, what is our authentic way. So we have to kind of relearn that. And sometimes it's bumpy and sometimes it's uncomfortable to shadow that, to experiment till you find your way, your authentic voice. So I'm not judging all these copy paste or those trends that are happening in branding, but I see this as the healing process. You know, it's kind of search process for people to find their own authentic expression, and people are still, and it's good, you know, in a way, like you try, you know what it works, what's not, and some of those tactics work, you know, they work, but they work short term.
Mm-hmm.
And more people feel they can see through that. They feel something, sometimes they cannot name it, but they feel something is off, something is icky.
Mm-hmm.
And something is not aligned. But on the other hand, we need those new imprints. I'm experimenting also on my voice very much, and I was like, okay, that felt off. And sometimes you know only when you try, right? Like, okay, that expression is just not my way. On that is a new imprint I got, and actually I didn't know that this is my way. So I also think that there is like this healing that connection and expression trauma to the world a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what manipulative tactics you hate the most?
Oh, there are different ones. But I don't like it when emotions are used during a lounge.
Oh,
For
you don't like emotional selling, like this feminine like vibe, and
yeah, like because you just feel it. It's a strategy to use emotions during a lounge because people know when they use emotions, people feel sorry or they're like, wow, she's vulnerable. Wow, she dares to show her emotions. And then the day after they just are over it and sell. So I don't like this misuse of emotions.
yeah, I think also emotions are sometimes they're good. I think sometimes, you know, it's the frequency. For example, I have a lot of joy energy in me, you know, that's one of my core frequency. And I know when people feel that emotion in me, then it's contagious because it's my essence in a way.
Yes, but
But
I'm
there is this unhealthy, what you say, manipulative way of emotion, and that's where you kind of sneak in, and then you buy something and you think, you wake up next day, it's like after hangovers, like what did I do? In a way. So I do feel that that in a way, what I feel a lot now, it's trending in the unhealthy feminine way, is just like, you don't need a sales page, you don't need, you just have to be flirting, you have to be, like go through emotions deeply, and that's it. It's just one-sided. It's not like holistic, balanced approach to kind of sell in a way. I wonder, guys, like, what is the manipulative tactics in marketing and selling you hate the most? Like, what really annoys you? Like, if you can list in the chat like few of them, what really bothers you? For me, is the part where there's no connection, in the selling process, where I feel like person talks to you, but they don't hear you. And that for me is like, because my love language is presence, this is where that quality time, I really feel like, get so frustrated when I share myself and I feel not heard, in a way. That's for me this manipulative marketing. And in a way, why that happens, because the person has agenda. And that's what, for me, this unethical manipulative marketing is at the end, when person is here with agenda instead of like connect with you. And that for me is a difference between this ethical marketing, empowering marketing, versus really this manipulative tactical marketing with agenda, with something, hidden there, something, to take away. Yeah, the comment says, if the fear-based manipulation, if you don't buy it now, you will lost, blah blah. Like, yes, that urgency, that scarcity. It's like, yay, buy now, buy now. And with some people, like, for example, I have in human design that authority, where I can decide in the moment. But a lot of people have like emotional authority, where they have to sleep on it, where they have to look in different angles of it. And this is where they are traumatized because of that. And what I figured out also on my own, it's experimenting. It's also where it comes from. Like, for example, if you do that pressure and urgency for you to buy now, again, from that agenda place, it feels very off. But sometimes, saying this is exclusive, this is limited, and let's have a conversation. Is that for you or not? Like, it depends what place it's coming from, that urgency. But you can feel where is it fear-based and where is like really energetic alignment place of what you just said, Geraldine. Like, it comes from the right place in a way.
You just feel it instantly.
Yeah, it feels awful, or it feels right. Yes. So I want to tackle a little bit, you mentioned those trends, and I really want to dive into them a little bit deeper. So why do you feel like few of them that we mentioned, why do you feel that trend of building yourself as authority or being an expert, why is that, I just let one person, why is that a bad thing? Like, why that feels off for you?
Because of this identification. Like, you're using the words, I'm an expert, so I'm more worth than you, or I will tell you how to do something. And again, it's like this hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like in school, or like you have to listen to the governments, like you are not intelligent enough to have a vision, for instance. So yeah, the expert status, when people link themselves as in this state of being an expert, it's more from ego, I think.
Yeah, I also feel like there is more to it, if I look in the depth of it. So yeah, I think that hierarchy thing, you very right. It's like if I'm expert, then you know, I'm kind of putting myself some kind of in a hierarchy or up. I know more.
Yeah.
But also for some people it's okay to be expert. It's their human design. They are here to be specialists and educate and be that. But now there's a huge general trend saying, you have to build authority, you have to build leadership, brand leadership, you have to be an expert. And I think this is because we live in very uncertain times.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they are selling on that emotion, what you just so don't like, as you said, in the very uncertain times where like nothing is clear, like you cannot even have 1 year plan in your business or with yourself, like 5-10 years plan already far gone for a long time, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty in these very crazy changing times. And then when you're so much uncertain, certainty, the feeling of certainty sells. So what they are selling with is like, I'm expert, I'm authority. They're selling you control and certainty. I
Mm-hmm.
know. And
Mm-hmm.
some, and again, some, it's not like all of it, but that everyone cannot be authority or expert. Like, yes, you need to know what is your design, what are you here to be, and again, is it from alignment, is what is your voice about. But a lot of people just, you know, and again, I think this is where my key message and my key why of my Sacred Salesforce program that I'm launching now. We are in so like the craziest changing times. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know also who we are. We figured it out. And for me is not more about that being an expert and knowing it all, because that doesn't feel right for so many people, right? Like, yeah, I know I need to know, but I don't know. I have no clue. My business is up and down. And then, you know, I have all this human experience. And I think that's why for me, and that's why I decided to launch that program, because for me, it's not about how to establish and be an authority or expert. For me, it's more like how to be a human being in the business, like how to figure out how to stay human, how to be honest with yourself, with your business, with your audience, of when your cycles in your business, like what we shared before, Geraldine, before we start on just the conversation, you are going on these phases of in between and you don't know, and how to be that with that in the business and with your audience and be honest, and how to embrace that human emotion and human feeling and human cycle of that in the business and your branding, in your expression, instead of like trying to control and be even more like, I know it all. I am here to educate, because that also feels, yeah, not only up for the audience but for yourself. It feels contracting, it feels hard, it feels not connecting, it doesn't feel really in alignment for you, and it doesn't feel fun in the business. It doesn't feel like really the business then feels job, that the shape, the box that you need to squeeze in, as you shared also before, instead of like, how can I be a human being with all these cycles, with all these emotions and all these different identity, death and rebirth and grief and rise in the business, and enjoy that, and let that be like naturally in like nature in the ecosystem of my business. So
Yeah.
for me, that's what I really bothers me, because it's also not inspiring for me. Yes, some are really educational, and I really learn from some coaches and experts of their field, but sometimes I just want to know, like, you know, what's behind the scenes, like how did you arrive there? Like I just want to know who you are and what's your experience through that. So for me, that what bothers me a lot in this expert and authority era that we all kind of, not all, but that's the trend, at least right now, that I notice.
Mhm.
Guys, if you resonate with that, also in the chat, if you can relate to that, and if you see that in the market.
Mhm. Yes, it's also about one-way communication, and I think we want to synergize with our coaches. We want to share, and it's really about our frequency, about the resonance that
Yeah,
I can learn something from Elira because of your energy.
yeah, yeah. And for me, it's very important, and that is fundamental. And when you have clear, aligned energy and clarity in yourself, in your offer, in your gifts, in your way of being, in your design, then things kind of organically, naturally, and effortlessly. Then the business goes with ease, and then you can build ecosystem of your business with that works for you, instead of trying to copy paste and apply someone else methodologies or business strategies, which again works. They're not wrong. There's nothing wrong with them, but it just doesn't feel right. It's like the shoes that are too big or too small.
Yeah, it's a bit like fake it until you make it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's saying. What do you think about that one? I know you have a very strong state on that.
Then it's not aligned.
But sometimes, sometimes we need to practice the muscle,
Mhm.
like to find your voice. Well, there's nothing to find, it's always there, but like to fine tune the expression of it, you need to practice. Like, for example, I did so many interviews on podcasts till I got so comfortable and so chill as I am now. But the first ones were like I couldn't sleep before. And it didn't feel like I'm natural in it. I had to kind of a little bit fake it till you make it, in that perspective.
Or is it just practicing?
Or is it just practicing?
Faking, it's like you're putting a layer or putting on a mask or something.
Yeah.
So there's a thin line between that. Ah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I was just poking you, about that. But why do you feel people still put the mask?
Like a mask.
Yeah, like why do they try all these strategies? Why they try what works for other people?
We have learned it from childhood to not to be yourself.
Yeah.
It's really a process of conditioning yourself, unlearning, and purifying ourselves from these patterns.
Yeah, I do feel our society and our business world is kind of in a constant state of like teenager, and we are kept to be there because it's convenient for capitalism that you don't make your own choice.
Mm.
That you always have to look into that authority who tells you what decision is about.
Mm.
And this is where, yeah, in a way, a lot of sales and marketing became this disempowered and manipulative way. And there are so many techniques, and like more I'm diving into it more, I keep discovering all kind of angles of like, oh my gosh, and this and this and this and that. But I do feel like, yeah, we have to grow up, we have to be adults, and that's hard if we're like not used to that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Can I speak?
Yeah, Sylvie.
It's better than the chat.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
yeah, so I agree completely with you about personal sovereignty and growing up as adults. This is our task, and I guess the four of us, we are committed to that. But in front of us, we have potential clients that are still not grown adults. So what is the choice? Do we act as the good mother and the good father, and we take their hands until they along the way until they are completely grown up adults, or we are just a, yeah, I mean, we are equals, we are, I mean, we can have a deep wish and a deep commitment to grown up as an adult with all the uncertainty and the bumps in the way, and etc. But what about the people in front of us?
Yeah.
So if we consider them as as adults as us, is a completely different relationship. But if we consider they are just in need of expert and authority and everything, so we are, I mean, there is a way to say, okay, I am the expert, I am the good mama, and I will help you, but this is not fulfilling for me. I don't want this role, and I don't want to constrain them in this role too.
Yeah.
So what would be the good way? What would be the good level to connect with them and to build a healthy relationship with my potential clients?
Yeah, Sylvie, beautiful question. And I'm very, very excited to jump in and ask and answer first about it, because that's exactly another why and foundational thing that I created a model about it in my Sacred Sales Voice program. I believe in this empowered marketing, if we can call it like that. So for me, the marketing is not about, like, babysitting and holding the hand, like these two extremes, like with this or another. I believe, like, if you don't interfere with the person decision, or you don't push or try to decide for the person, instead empower the person to make a right decision for them, it's a very different approach. So for me, it's not like selling or being authority or hand holding. It's more, what do you need to know what's right for you about this? It's more filtering. It's more like questioning, and it's also filtering for me and filtering for you. So it's more like this conversational way where I am kind of empowering you to sometimes to make decision, which is no, this is not for you. But more, I'm connecting from that care place, and I am just maybe asking questions or sharing information that feels relevant for that person to make decision on their own. I'm not pressuring them to make decision. I'm not convincing them anything. I'm just helping them to filter, is it for me or not?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very different place to connect. It's very different way of, like, I'm using word empowering marketing because it's kind of explains it best. But on the other hand, what is there to empower if you don't take power away in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
If you just allow person to be and use their own power the way they have, the way they know. So for me, it's that dance, that conversation. It's more creating relational environments where we can have that conversation, where we can talk about it, where we can figure out what matters to me, who I am, like where I'm going. But also for me, like, I had so many times where it was good for the money for my business, but I just felt it's not good for the person, or it's not good for the program, it's not good for the group, it's not good for me also sometimes. And I said no, because I know it will be mismatched, and then there are other people who can help them better with what they need, because then it's, again, this, what Geraldine says, misalignment of energetics happen
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I answered, and Geraldine, if you want to hop on and answer that also.
Yes, I agree. And I think it's good to have discovery calls where you can have a chat with your potential clients to really feel if there is a match between you and the potential clients. I've always worked like that, and
I would even expand depending on the business. Like, Sylvie, what is your business?
Well, I have several business. I have a publishing house, and I'm selling that kind of products. Yes, for example, they are
Okay.
tachyonized product that I
Ah.
manufacture and I sell all over
Wow.
the world. So there is a product, and
Yeah.
I'm also a process worker, and process work is a methodology of
Yeah.
self-growth, let's say.
Yeah. And Corinne, yes, you can talk. Just let me finish in a moment. Yeah. So I would say even more, it's, you know, in the coaching, yes, it's good to have discovery calls, but depending on the business is more like, how can you create those relational environments and save low risk ways of people to connect with you and your products, and figure out what if it's for them or not. So sometimes, you know, it can be small testing things, you know, or freebies or whatever, you know, or just conversations like we have in this room right now, like where literally people, low risk and safe way to connect with you and your work and your business. That, and have that conversation, what matters to them, what matters to you, so you also know your clients and you build what's relevant for your clients too. Karina, you want to ask something or share?
Yes, I hope you can hear me good. I'm like outside right now. Yeah, okay. So I just wanted to thank you guys for this talk, and yeah, I got really inspired. But about the calls, discovery calls, I've found it really, really beautiful, because for what you said, for me as well, like I am fourth line in my human design, and I really need to know somebody before I commit. What you said about that, sometimes the decision is not good for me or for the client, you know. So it's not only about, oh, I want to sell it. I really need to feel if you are also the client for me, if I can help you. And I just recently had this beautiful, empowering discovery calls, and the first thing I'm telling with working with people is just, you know, you have emotional authority, please take your time, you can come back to me where you're clear and there's no pressure. And it just feels so beautiful to give this power away. And at the same time, I had myself, I was a client where it was also in human design community, person who is emotional, and she was like pressuring like, oh, till 2 days from now the price will go up, so you have to hurry, you know. And I'm like, wow, I'm emotional, you know it. I,
Yeah.
I cannot do it this way, and I felt icky, you know. So I really thank you for confirming this and giving authority to people and to make decisions for themselves. I think it's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing that, and I totally relate, and I want to even deepen or elaborate on that even more. You know, you have to include yourself and you have to include other, and time pressure sometimes is not wrong, or depends again the place it's coming from, but also the worst thing and the poisoning thing in all these formats is the not honesty, not transparency, and agenda. And Karina, in your case, would you say like, yeah, pressure deadline is in 2 days? Well, deadline is already sounds very deadly. There's that word. You know, I don't know why we sometimes create the words in business that I was like, oh my gosh. But sometimes, you know, for example, what I'm discovering with my own launching, I realized like I launched a program and I decided not to do any, not kind of sales pricing or increasing anything. And for my nervous system, it's overstretch, because I know people will join last minute, but I am getting in this fight or flight response where people, will they join? Will they join? Will they join? So what I'm learning, like next time I will make some kind of phases where for myself, I want you to join earlier, because then it's easier for me to relax and connect to the audience and start preparing the space energetically and the content based of who is coming, because it's easier for me to respond. And it's nothing, I feel like it's nothing wrong with that if I communicate that transparently. If I say, this is good for my heart, this is good for my content, it comes from this place, I am sharing, including me, what I need, and I'm listening to you and what you need. And it's always, again, I'm coming back to that conversational environment, empowering environment where you can be you and we can find information and time and everything you need, but also I'm including myself, how I work, what I need. And sometimes like very clear boundaries are crucial. So sometimes, the closing the space on this date or closing the pricing on this date is good for me and my energetic and my system and my offers. So I can also allow my body to relax. So yeah, I think that's where this personal marketing and branding goes further, is that transparency and honesty and deep listening for yourself and deep listening for your client and connecting with your client. That's what I believe the healthy personal branding and marketing is about.
And I would say that's role modeling. And Karina, you were typing this earlier, the role modeling. So we are not the expert, but because we are real, and because people say, wow, because what we say, what we do, we are role modeling for people, and we say, oh wow, she's doing it. She's doing her work, but she also is taking care of herself, of her needs. So that's a good thing for me. So I can do the same. So that's the real value of the action.
Yeah, and this is again for me like we need inspiring role models. We need this inspiring ways of being, because like we talked in the beginning, we know what's not working, but then what's alternative? Like what are the formats? What are the ways? What are the strategies that work for other people? So you can have a lot and you can filter what works for you. But also it's being honest with yourself, and that role modeling part, because I'm also line 6. I noticed the moment when I start to see, oh, I want to be a role model for others, I have that slippery road towards that authority and expert thing. And that's why I kind of dropped that in a way, because it happens as the outcome naturally. If my intention and my attention goes to like who I am, like who I want to be, what is this all situation around me, the culture, the clients, the business is inviting me, like the living, breathing nature thing. Like where do we where does it evolve? What wants to emerge here? Who I want to be in all this, who I am in all this, how I want to relate. And then it somehow automatically things happen. Yes, I'm 6'2", so I need to be natural role model. Yes, thank you, Karina. That's why it works for me. Yeah.
Yes, it's spontaneous then.
Yes.
Nature. Yeah.
So Geraldine, what is your personal branding approach, and how do you want to show up?
I call it now pure presence.
Mm.
And it's about my energy. And I share when I feel a message is popping up. So I'm writing my post when I feel this inspiration coming up. And I share it just in the moments. I'm very open, transparent, also in my stories. And I want to show up as a true human being.
Yeah.
also about humanizing marketing and personal branding. We are not a product or a commodity, so it's really about our essence. And I'm using more and more my voice. And I'm also sharing about my pitfalls or my journey. I'm a 3-5 profile, so I may explain my experience and share about my personal journey.
Yeah.
When
And I guess again that's what we all have to figure out, what works for each of us.
Yes.
And so much experience to share. Yeah, I guess that's it.
So
That's-
when you refer to 3562, it's a human design, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm a big fan of human design, and Karina is really the analyst, human design analyst. We had a beautiful conversation with her in previous podcast episodes about when nervous system meets human design. Was really cool. I really recommend to watch that. But yeah, it helps really to deep dive. Well, like, what is your design? What is your energetic blueprint? The way you relate with the world. And I find it very helpful tool to access, to know and build business around that for you, instead you trying to fit in the mold in a way. So I also included, and I invited Karina to help me that in the Sacred Sales Voice, to help people build business ecosystem or marketing and sales in their authentic voice, very practically, very like tailored, like this is what works for you, try that out. And because sometimes we also like don't know, but it's sometimes good to have that tailored, individualized approach, because I feel like also this is where we're going with the personal branding. It's going to be more and more individualized, and I see the trends now going, like there are more and more formats showing up, the way business is done, the offers, the launches, and that gives me really a lot of joy to see and witness. But I feel it's going to be more and more and more diversified and individualized. Another thing that we touched base about, this aggressive masculine voice, this alpha Tony Robbins style marketing. Yeah, it's still another misconception, and I think in personal branding and marketing, that
it's outdated.
Yeah, it's outdated. And I am much more, I'm way bigger fan of this gentle power. And well, that's also my energy, that's my approach. And there's so much more in this slow, sustainable marketing than the shout loud and always be aggressive, or like at least shout loud and be always like high vibe and
Yeah.
in the lounge.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I am 5'1", but I'm not sure. Somebody years ago made my profile in human design, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so if your profile one, then to being expert and authority, it's really your thing, then it's right for you.
Okay, so well, I remember 5'1", but I don't really remember what it means, so it's not very useful.
Well, connect with Karina if you want to know more. She's really
maybe, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Optical expert is 5'1". Okay, thank you. What? That's me?
Yeah.
That's me. Thank you, Karina.
So I also I love this like very chatty, very human conversation we're having. You know, it's expanding from 2 of us to 4 of us.
That's a real conversation.
Yeah, it's really having a human conversation. And I really feel that's what it is about those days. You know, that is the marketing. Like, let's have a human conversation. Like, what do you need, where you are at. I built all my business based on that, like based on what my clients need, where they are struggling, or what would be supportive, and what I felt inspired to do. But I still want to come back to the topic that we didn't touch yet, and we didn't talk much, is visibility trauma. because now we're going layer deeper, and it's a little bit that expressing that voice. We talk now touch base, like distortions that may happen. What do you feel this visibility trauma is about? And oh, my cat is joining. Oh, you see, it's getting cozy and cozier. Like, oh my gosh, like when I'm launching this sacred sales, it really dropped me on my knees to drop all the professionalism and just really be a human. Like to every aspect of my launch where I felt I'm performing, I was asked to drop it, like, and just to be human. So Karina says your cat is not afraid of visibility. Oh no, he is such a performer, such a yeah, very inspiring one. But coming back to that visibility trauma, where do you feel, guys, maybe I'll ask all of you, where do you feel you struggling the most? What is your visibility trauma? And where it comes from? What is that thing that you made conclusion about, or that rule for yourself regarding to be visible, that belief maybe I cannot show up, or I cannot do that, or I cannot share that, or I cannot show up that way because there will be consequences? What is that for you?
Yeah, for me, it was the use of my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because I was educated in 2 languages. So my father is Belgian, my mother is Swiss, French-speaking part of Switzerland. So I didn't talk well in Dutch. And I cannot roll the R in Flemish. So I have the French R. And I had complexes about that. Very strange. But then the last 6 months, I used more and more my voice. So I'm also, I can be booked as a speaker or as a host. And it's like, whoa, my gosh, what a transformation. Now I'm using my voice. I get a lot of compliments. And, you know, when I do an interview, I can't re-listen to that interview because I have like this relationship with my voice. Like it's too soft and I don't like to hear my voice.
Yeah.
But so much compliments. And now it's like a strength. It's my...
Isn't it funny that our biggest trauma usually is our biggest gift in a way that we're here to do? Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. And it's so funny. Like I would never think like, oh, it's the accent or that you cannot pronounce something that becomes a huge block for your story, for your psyche to express yourself.
Yes, and I did courses when I was 12 years old to learn how to roll the R.
Yeah.
Because it's always a French R. People say, oh, it's so sexy.
It's funny, huh? Yeah, for me,
like that.
yeah, it's funny how it converts to our perception. And and how we certain point in our lives we made that belief somewhere, you know, or that conclusion, and then it kind of makes the pathway for it. For me, it was a long time. It was I'm not allowed to be loud. I'm not allowed to be fun. I'm not allowed to be crazy. I'm not allowed to express myself because, you know, I grew up in a very small village. Where very clear forms what you need to say and how you need to be. So, and I was like this black sheep. So I learned like I'm not allowed. And what is even more interesting for me and what I'm exploring with people is the forms people learn to hide behind that. You know, that's what I call that visibility trauma, because for example, what I figured out how I was hiding, I did in my business everything hiding behind other people. So I did a podcast where I invited other people to speak, but I was not allowed, you know, and I started to apply other people methodologies, but I was not allowed to create my own until I learned this is my visibility block. This is where I'm hiding my visibility. And I shift around, and for a long time I didn't invite anyone on my podcast because I had to allow myself to express what I have to say, and now I cannot shut up. But it's so funny how many there are visibility blocks that I discover with my clients. Like, for example, what you shared about this extravagant visuals and colors and beauty. I find a lot of times people hiding behind that true visibility, true message, true voice, covered it up behind the big visuals, or people sabotage themselves in so many ways where this visibility kind of gets blocked. And a lot is also related to nervous system. You know, it's such a funky paradox where you want to be visible, you want to express yourself, go out there in the world, but your body doesn't feel safe to do that, and you're in a freeze response, and freeze response says, I just don't want to do anything. I just don't want to be visible. I want to hide. And you're like, push, no, I have to go and be visible and do marketing and express myself. And this is re-traumatizing in a way. And yeah, it's really very interesting topic to look into. And usually visibility capacity that I'm talking about, usually there's biggest amount of blind spots. Like we all have blind spots on different capacities, but visibility one it's really, really huge. I'm curious, guys, what are yours? Karina, Sylvie, what are your visibility blind spots?
Okay, I can tell about me. My fundamental belief, which I grew up with until some years ago, because it's a life work, right? It's I'm not important.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not important.
Yeah.
I am. When I was born, my older brother was 18 years old, so I was not expected. So I think I adopt the belief that I am a burden.
Right.
And probably my mother would prefer at 40 years old doing something else than taking care of baby. And finally, recently, well, it was not this, but it was all the building of my belief. And so I decided to do it by myself, because I couldn't rely, even if my family was nice and my mother take care of me because she has to do it, and I never lack of anything. But I adopt the belief that I do it by myself because it's better than waiting for others to help me. So I have this tendency to do it all by myself.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to ask for help.
Yeah, that's a big one. I can feel you on that. Yes.
So, yeah. So it's to rely, to ask for help, to be vulnerable, and to say, okay, I don't know. And until recently, I don't know was okay. I don't know. What do you have to offer me now?
Yeah.
I mean, it was not really opening and okay. So I remember all my young years. I have completely crazy clothes, red and black and makeup. So I am important. You have to see me. So I have all this period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I so feel you. And this is so beautiful that, you know, we sharing all of that, because it's so deep, and sometimes people really need examples on that to relate. That's why I'm kind of elaborating on this way deeper, because people even have no clue how deep it goes, this visibility trauma, and how like a cancer, like a web of spider. It's kind of spread in all your business. And sometimes, you know, when I start to have like this conversations about business with people, they think, you know, the problem is there, but actually sometimes it's just visibility blind spot, the visibility trauma that poisons all the other business areas, all the ecosystem, and they are not aware of it because, you know, they've been with that all their life. They're not even, you know, realizing. Yeah, it's very, very big thing. So Karina, what is yours, if you're open to share?
Yes, I am. I'm still in the city, so I hope the sound is good.
Yeah, it's good.
So I guess, not I guess, I know deeply. The most recent, because I moved to Netherlands and my English was okay in the beginning, but I had the blogs, because of the accent I assumed I have, you know, Eastern European, Polish accent of speaking in English. And I thought it's like, it's not okay. Also, if I am even speaking correctly, if I am like, if my voice doesn't annoy somebody, you know, and this actually comes not from the mind, but when I was a child, and I am a manifestor in human design, and often people feel really uncomfortable around manifestors because we have this big energy, and sometimes people feel it's too much for them. There's this impact. So I would often be, shush, you know, like you are too much.
You're too
Maybe,
much.
yeah, you are too much.
Yeah, I
Your
think you.
energy is too big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's the belief, that's the trauma of visibility, like you too much, be less, you know, be
be less.
you make me
Yeah.
uncomfortable. So then you try to shrink and you find all the, like, is my voice
Mm,
okay? Am I, you know, yeah, I feel you. And
yeah,
as you know yourself, I guess that's the typical manifestor trauma.
yeah.
Um,
Voice wounds. Yeah.
voice
Throat
ones, but
wounds.
also like
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
too much,
Yeah. Oh,
because you have such a
definitely.
strong energy in a way.
Yeah, but now I'm embracing it. It's beautiful how much in my life changed since I met human design. But it wasn't only that, like from nervous system, like just capacity to observe it. After our program, it was beautiful. Like I really started to fall in love in myself and this impact. And I still have blockages. I still need to, like, when I watch something I recorded and when I hear myself speaking, sometimes like this cringes, you know, like listening, and I don't want to listen to video I created. And then after some time, I'm like, actually, it's beautiful. It's my voice, it's my expression, and yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there, but it's a
Yeah.
process and slow steps.
It will always be
Safe.
a process. It will always be a
Yeah,
process. Every level of expansion, every level of your new identity, you know, it will require you show up differently. It will require you to share more or differently. So it's that's why, you know, foundationally I talk about capacity work, because that's the foundational part, you know, your
yeah,
visibility, your nervous system, your structures, and so on and so on. But I think, and Karina was in my nervous system foundations program. That's what she was talking about. I think the key is to know how to handle yourself. The key is to have that listening and visibility with yourself and also with others. And that's why there is like internal visibility and external visibility component of all that visibility part of your business. You constantly need to listen and be gentle, and also that relational capacity, like with yourself, as you say, Karina. Oh, actually, I listen. I was like, oh, I like it. You're beautiful. Like, you know, like you're building that new relationship with your voice. And then, you know, again, building relationship with in connection with others. Like, okay, I want to be more. I want to share more. I don't want to be too much. You know, sometimes I say, if I'm too much, it's fine. Go and find less. I'm okay. You know? I'm fine. You
It's
know.
embracing yourself. Yes.
Yeah, and that's true for me. Personal branding. It requires so many aspects of connecting, knowing who you are, first of all, and who you are in the environment, and listening very, very deeply, and building that relationship, listening, creating those ecosystems where you can listen yourself and the others, but also like what offers wants to come through you, or like what products you want to build up, and listening there. And listening, is it from the head, or is it really like someone in your environment really inviting you to show up this way, or need you to show up this way? So it's a beautiful dance for me in a way, and very deep and very soul awakening. That's why I love business and entrepreneurship journey, because it's such a, for me, it's been so far such a soul awakening journey. Like it allowed me to show up and to experience and to be myself that I didn't know I can. Like it enabled me that expression, that personal branding, in a way I didn't know that I can be that. I didn't know I can relate that. I didn't know I can share and feel so much, or impact so much, or love so much. And for me, the business, the easeful business, is that at the end, you know, like to, how can I be more of me? How can I share more of me, that feels good to me and it feels good to others? So yeah, I can talk about this nonstop, because yeah, but that's why I decided to do a program, because otherwise I just, you know, I have a voice that I want to share, and then it just leaks. It needs to be honored also, about all this depth on this topic. So Geraldine, is there anything you want to add on it?
Yes, what you just said, it's this pure presence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the name of your company. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that requires a lot also to go through, to feel, to be, you know, a human, and to be this. It's not only energetics, but also for me, how to ground that, and that pure presence. Like, how can we create that in the form?
Mm-hmm. In the here and the now.
Yes, in the here and the now.
Gives your presence.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. So we're reaching a little bit of time, and I just wanted also to ask, guys, is there anything else you want to share, to add, or ask? I feel it's such a nice tone now, so to wrap it up. So feel free to put your also voice there. Or what are you taking away from it? Also, that's
I can say that I was coming with questions, and I didn't get the answers because the questions disappear. I mean, well, I didn't know exactly what to expect of this conversation, but I feel very inclined and attracted to come and to sign up. And finally, this is what I need. This is what I need. This is space just to talk and to observe different perspectives and share. And this is only what I need. I don't need finally, I don't need any technique. It's just inner work, and readjust with who I am. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that. And that's exactly what I know. I keep bringing that, the sacred sales voice, but it's just so alive in me right now, because I'm in the lounge about that. But that's exactly why I decided to do in the format like I do. I go into very deep foundational topics. So your answers kind of or disappear, or you know what is the answer from very different place. It's not from the head place and the ego, you know, and that part, but more from that connecting with your heart and your essence, and then finding the ease and clarity from that place, building strategies on that in a way, or from that. So I love, Sylvie, that you feel this way. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Karina, is there anything else you want to add? My cat is
Yeah. Your cat came?
yeah, demanding for visibility.
Nice, nice, nice. And I'm very grateful that we met in this naturally evolving format of beautiful, inspiring conversation. And yeah, it felt good to be visible in authentic way, just like that. And I think this is all about like new personal branding, just to be present. What you were saying, it's beautiful, truly. And yeah, it's got me thinking. Like I myself now, I'm in like on the YouTube journey, you know, because I want to put the knowledge of human design out. And yeah, I can see those strategies. Like I am somehow like going into mind, and I can notice that. Oh, what kind of thumbnail I should use? What kind of color? Can I be true to myself? Or this is going to sell, and I observe it. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy. I can have my clarity, my own authority, and not judge anything of that. Just going with the body, and I guess experiment.
Yeah.
I guess experiment with my own branding. It was very important to me to create a video for myself, my artistic expression and my essence, for people to know who I am in a way which is mine. uh, and I guess that's the core of it. Just
Yeah.
this creative self-expression, whatever it means for us, can be in the form of art, conversation, podcast, whatever is there. And yeah, feels good. Feels good. Like something is opening. Yeah. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, I love what you say, because I love that part of hands-on experimentation. Like a lot of people think like it's just, energy and good vibes, and just, if you do the dance ritual before stepping in a good
Nice.
vibes and the presence, but sometimes you just really need to put hands on and experiment and see what works, what's not for you via doing, and
Yeah,
figure it out
exactly.
in that way also, who you are and who you're not. So
Yeah.
it goes hands in hand. And I love especially I love what you say. I start notice where I'm starting to lose myself, and notice how always when you start to lose yourself in the mind, it always goes in direction like of this, will it sell? How can I like have expectation, or like how to that
Agenda.
manipulative way,
Yeah.
like how can I have agenda there, like how to manipulate agenda so it sells, instead of
Yeah.
like, who I want to express now, like what is that I really like, coming back to yourself and connecting to your heart, and being really present, like what is this here needs to happen and arise from that place. So I love what you just shared with the example, concrete example.
Yeah, thank you for that. And even today I was just doing research on YouTube, and I knew that this conversation I signed up on purpose to have the counterpoint of all this knowledge and all this expertise which is out there,
Yeah.
and I will see. I'm not clear yet what to do, but I am really grateful for this talk. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining and being fully with your presence here with us. Thank you, Geraldine, also with coming here and sharing your beautiful energy. And it's so soft. I just want to hug you,
With pleasure. Thank you, Elia.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sylvia and Karina.
Yeah, I'm today more fiery mode,
Thank you.
but I loved. I
So
guess
much.
it's inspiring me to talk about this. So thank you so much, and let's keep in touch. For those people who are watching, I will share also my Sacred Sales Voice program if you want to go there with me deeper. Because I'm super excited about that one, and I put the landing page. It's not just feel vibes. I put the landing page. What is there going to be? So your analytical, logical mind also knows what is there for. And if not there, I see you in other conversations or other beautiful directions, offerings that I want to invite you to deepen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I
you.
see you the next time.
See.
Bye.
Bye.